Alright, so I'm gonna talk about Ashes of Creation. I don't know how long this video is gonna be. I don't know how I'm gonna title this video. I don't know how I'm gonna go about this video, but I wanna talk about Ashes of Creation and I just wanna talk about it with full freedom. Um, I might call this video why I think Ashes of Creation is better than Classic WoW or something of that nature. Why this is the best MMORPG since Classic World of Warcraft, something like that. Something to get people a little bit rowdy. I made a video 1 month ago when the first weekend the alpha came out, where I was talking about how people were being extremely negative and how sick and fed up I am about this. Every single game, it doesn't matter the genre, it doesn't matter whatever, like real life, everything. People are just always complaining, always being thinking that everything is the worst. It could be every game sucks, everything is the worst, etc., etc., etc. Especially in MMORPGs. Oh my god. And you had a lot of people who would start playing the game, and we were waiting for the Asmongold, the Asmongold review and whatever. And it's like Asmongold is gonna play for 10 hours. These people are gonna play for 10 hours. They don't know what the game is about. And sorry, yes, an MMORPG you have to play for more than 10 hours. Did you see the end game? Did you go to Carfin? Did you get the loot that you needed to get? Did you see the world at all? No, you didn't. You are not qualified to give a full review. I am not qualified to give a full review. I only have 161 hours at the time of making this video. I don't know, I'll try my best. I'll tell you what I think about Ashes of Creation. So anyway, I do have a few pointers, a few things that I want to go through. I don't know, I might go back and forth in between them. I will tell you why I think Ashes of Creation could be a WoW killer, could be the next MMO, a decent, a real MMO after all of these years. What the game gets right, and what exactly is going to be the defining factor between making or breaking this game. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is the adventure. This game for a long time actually felt to me like an adventure. And I know there's no questing, there's no anything. I'm gonna talk about questing at the very end of the game probably. But the game to me felt like this huge epic adventure. And now that has to do with the fact that I was playing with a couple of players that joined our guild, and they had a lot of experience with the game. They were some of the early alpha testers, and I cannot thank them enough because they made my experience amazing. They knew where to go, they knew the map, they knew the points of interest, they knew the best ways to grind the game, to XP, to get gear, and so on and so forth. So we kind of were playing with the same people off and on and off. We're trying to get them gear, and we traversed the map. We went from the Riverlands to the tropics to the Ambles and back and forward, while most people were stuck in Oakenbay. Now, I have to say, in that regard, I do feel like I was a little bit spoiled by this situation. I know that for most people, the experience was to mainly grind Oakenbane and then grind the next point and just sit at the same place and grind the same mobs. And we did a lot of that. That's one of the, I don't know if it's one of the issues or a good thing. I have yet to make my mind on this. I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like, I'm gonna go back and forth between the topics that I want to bring. So this is the topic right now. The topic right now is grinding the same mob over and over good gameplay. No, it's not. It's kind of boring, it's kind of annoying, but it's the most efficient, so people want to do it, and we found ourselves doing it a lot of the time. But at the same time, the guys were also excited about the game. They wanted to go to these places, they wanted to push into the dungeons, into the points of interest, kill the bosses, go back and forward. It was a little bit more dynamic, but it had more to do with the specific group they were playing with than the design of the game now. So the game needs to find a way. The devs need to find the way to incentivize actually exploring the places. Or and in the background, the footage that I'm using, we're looking into going into the PvP area. It was kind of empty because a lot of people were not daring to go there. So if you had a quest that that rewarded you with like a big piece of gear or something like that, and it had some lore behind it, just telling you to go search for a treasure in this island where there's gonna be PvP, where there's gonna be kind of hard to get it to, which is gonna be like a huge epic adventure. Maybe more people would go there, right? So I mean, that's gonna supposedly it's gonna come later. I don't know. I don't know what they want to do with the lore. That's gonna be my final point. Okay, I already screwed my video up. Yes, it needs lore. I'm gonna go back and forth through all of these things. This could be absolutely epic if you had a reason to do it. We found our own reason, which was XP grind and the Ashen set, which I got and was stolen from us by someone in our guild. We had all that, a little bit of drama there. So anyway, no, it's not the best content to just grind the same mob, but depending on the people that you're playing with, things could be different. You can always, as I was saying, like I was spoiled by people, by some of my guildmates knowing the game and so on and so forth. Most people just go to Okemain and grind there. Most people can't even find a group. For myself, I created my own groups. I do this in every video game that I play. You have to have some initiative, and for people who have initiative, you find other people who have initiative as well. They don't have to start the group. They don't have to be the tank. They don't have to be the healer. They can be DPS. They can be whatever they want. But if they play as a team, if they show up, if they are like not complete assholes, you're gonna bring them back into your group, and that's how it's gonna keep going. This game is not for you if you don't know how to play as a team. If you want everything catered to you, if you don't want to put any effort into joining a guild or being part of a group, or I don't know, if you don't have IRL friends. I don't have any IRL friends who play this game, but we created a cool little community in our Discord, which is linked below. And I'm always recruiting, we're always recruiting, and we're gonna find the next MMORPG. Anyway. Alright, so continuing with this idea of the adventure, of the size of the world, as I said, this is the next, I'm thinking this is gonna be the WoW killer. This is the best MMORPG that I played since World of Warcraft Classic, and a lot of me coming to this conclusion has to do with the size of the game. The game is huge, the map is huge, and with the right people, with the right incentive, with the right mindset, it's absolutely epic. And with the right graphics card as well. At some points, I stood at certain places, and I was looking into the horizon. I was this background footage that I'm using right now was when we came into the Ambles. I've never been here. I don't know. Some people like started over here. It was empty. They said it's one of the newest zones, and it was huge and whatnot. It felt so bloody epic to come here and just see the biome itself. As I said, now later on, if you're gonna have some quest that takes you into the Ambles because you need to uncover some ancient ruins from the dwarves or whatnot, I would make it absolutely epic. Now, I have to talk about the graphics themselves. Now, I'm doing this background footage is not as great because it's a little bit repurposed. But when you, sometimes I just stood in places I said, and I looked at the way the grass moves, the way things interact, the wind blowing, and so on and so forth. And I saw all these people complaining on Reddit about how it looks horrible, how it's plasticky and whatnot. Yeah, sure, it's not fully optimized yet. It's not fully done yet. It's not 100% where it needs to be. However, at some points, it's absolutely mind-blowing.
A crate run or some shit, or you guys want to
Oh yeah.
go and farm someone to hunt down that's doing a crate run, we could possibly like team up with you guys and shit.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's what we want to do. We're gonna do like big trade rounds and stuff. We did one with the
yeah.
Obsidian Empire. We had a huge convoy all the way from here to the... Oh my god, this is bloody beautiful, man. Holy shit. Sorry, I'm just kind of... Do you see this?
You're good.
Do you see the sun like this and the sun like underneath just kind of
Oh yeah,
rolling?
that's why I love this area so much, is because during the night you could see the stars and it's just beautiful.
Bro, like people are just crying all over Reddit that it looks like shit, and like this is one of
I don't know
the
what the fuck they talking about. Have y'all been
best
to the
looking
jungle yet?
MMOs.
That's one of
Yeah.
the
I think
best areas
they
to look at. Is that jungle
they got
area?
they're just mad because they got horrible graphics cards.
Like I mentioned in my other video, I think also it has to do with your perspective of on life, with the mindset that you have. You can have everything in the world. You can live in the most peaceful society in the Pax Americana, where the United States Navy has controlled the world, so countries don't have to go into war anymore, and you live in a house with running water, with heating, with every single service that you can think of. You can order a package and it comes to your door. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to endure some of the things that your ancestors went through, and you are there sitting in your couch just complaining that the game doesn't look like the real world. It has to do with your perspective. For me, at some points, this game was absolutely beautiful. And I mean, just the fact that these developers are trying to bring this epicness into the MMORPG genre again, when a lot of other games have gone in the way of little instance sort of passageways. Like I can think of Elder Scrolls Online, for example, which has the huge world of the Elder Scrolls. And don't get me wrong, I love Elder Scrolls Online, and I do admire that they have stuck to the lore and they have stuck to their ideals. But when you look at the world, it feels isolated, it feels claustrophobic. The world in Ashes of Creation feels huge. And even though it doesn't look extremely stunning right now, it has a certain charm to it. It's way better than classic World of Warcraft, I'll tell you that. Despite the fact that the world of classic World of Warcraft is epic on its own for its own reasons, of course. Retail World of Warcraft is all Disney-like, bubbly. I cannot stand it. I cannot stand the rainbow palette in Retail World of Warcraft. Ashes of Creation has this dungeon and this dungeon and dragon sort of vibe, this sort of metal vibe to the game, which makes it absolutely amazing in my opinion. Alright, so this brings me to my next point. As I said, I'm just gonna go back and forth. I don't remember how to make videos. Like I have no followers in this channel, so I'm just gonna say whatever I want, and sometimes I might say things that are not politically correct. I don't care. I have some other channels that I take seriously. I don't have millions of subscribers, but I have a few thousands of subscribers in my other main channel. But anyway, this is a channel just for talking about the truth of MMORPGs or some other games. I don't know what I'm gonna be making of this channel. I'm gonna be talking about the truth. So anyway, there are real dungeons in Ashes of Creation. It's not only about just standing in a place and hitting a mob. There are real dungeons in the background footage that I'm using here. I don't know if it was a bug or a feature of the dungeon where we needed. Or, I mean, it was great that we had a mage and he used the mage light for us to see what was going on, because I was starting to feel really... You literally couldn't see, and I don't know, again, I don't know if this was a bug or was it like a feature of the game. If it was a feature of the game, it adds into what the game is already doing, which is class identity, extreme class identity. Only clerics can do certain things. Only clerics can revive people. Only them can do certain things. Cheat death, for example. The mage light over there, tank, is the only one who can really tank. No one else can actually tank. A little bit the fighters and maybe some range classes who can kite a little bit, but not in the same extent as other video games. So in any case, at some point we decided to actually push the dungeons here and there, and that has to do with as I said, one of my guildmates knowing the game in and out, being an early alpha tester, and wanting to improve his gear. So he wanted to go and kill bosses, and he would take us throughout the world, through all of these places and dungeons, and a lot of places that I think most of the players didn't even notice. I'm level 17 here. I should be still in Oakenbane, but instead I was going through the tropics, and then I was going through the ambles and so on and so forth. So anyway, this brings me to the point that I wanted to talk about, which is the incentives of the game are in the right place. This game, and I said this before, maybe in the other video, I don't remember, feels like you hit level 7, you hit level 8, and people say, oh, the game is over, there's no quest, oh, the game ends at level 7, and then there's no content. No. You hit level 7, and you basically go into pre-best in slot World of Warcraft Classic loop. And for some of us, that pre-best in slot World of Warcraft Classic, where you have to hit the dungeons and go back and forth between places, this sort of huge adventure to conquer the dragon in her lair, that's the coolest shit ever. And that's how Ashes of Creation felt for me. It is pre-best in slot grind from World of Warcraft. As you see there, I got some earrings. We were getting loot back and forth, and this brings me to another point that I didn't know that I wanted to talk about, but I do want to talk about. So the incentive for the gear is there, and the gear is scarce. There's not a lot of gear going on. It takes a lot to craft it, and it takes you going into weird places to actually get it. So this scarcity of resources, this scarcity of loot, makes the incentive to go into these kind of hard dungeons. A lot of people were saying that, oh, they're not hard, they're hard. Yes, they are hard. If you are not playing correctly, these things will one-shot you now. Now, in the background footage that I'm using here, some of the mobs are lower level, which is something cool, because sometimes you need to chill a little bit. Sometimes you need to push yourself and try to go to higher level mobs, and sometimes you can go to lower level places, and that's where you can do more of the quote-unquote exploration into the dungeons, which is what we did in this dungeon, for example. So you can do both. The game is not about standing in the same place, hitting the same mob. This is something that the max XP, min-maxing crowd does, and I mean, if that's the incentive, well, that sucks. But if the incentive is going for loot, which is what my guildmate suggested, and this is how he took us all over the place, that makes the game absolutely amazing. As I said, the game doesn't explain you this. So I was spoiled with this experience, because a lot of people didn't know what to do. They were just grinding Oakenbane. And I did. I grinded Oakenbane for like until level 15 or 16. They lacked the knowledge that I had because of my guildmates, which is one of the situations where the game does need to improve. However, the fact remains that the incentives for loot and for dungeon progression and the difficulty of the dungeons themselves is what make the game great. Which brings me to another point. The combat is the best combat in any tap target MMO that I've ever played. And I just say it like that. I mean, I played retail World of Warcraft. I did a lot of rated battlegrounds, and I that was one of my most favorite things about retail World of Warcraft. The classes were filled with abilities and stuff, and you had a button for absolutely everything, but then it got a little bit cluttered, and well, there's some other problems with retail World of Warcraft that I don't want to go into right now. But when it comes to tap target combat, especially as I was tanking, I had never played a game where I had to actively dodge, actively block in a tap target combat system. I did a little bit of that in New World, but it just feels different, and it felt fitting, and it worked. it worked 100%. Like, I am about hit level 25 at the moment of making this video. It just felt right. Next thing that I wanted to talk about in this very random video, where I just skip randomly between topics because there's so much that I want to talk about and I don't know how to make the cuts into and out of each other. But anyway, I'm gonna go back and forth still. So the next thing that I want to talk about is the whole social MMO system, the whole general sense of community in the world, along with what people term as the positive or the negative when it comes to interacting with PvP and possibility of entropy. Now, alright, so there's a whole crate system in the game where that's one of the best, well, one way to make money, and you know, a lot of people were saying that it replaced caravans and so on and so forth. I think this sort of a newish sort of deal and whatnot. But when you've been doing the whole dungeon thing or the whole standing in one spot grinding the same mob over and over, and you're figuring out what the game is really about, is there something else to do in the game? Turns out, yes, there is something else to do in the game, and I found the whole idea of doing crates whenever I was tired of grinding pretty darn cool. Now, I wanted to run a crate with my guildmate, but everybody was afraid of PvP. There were some, even I was looking to some of the YouTubers, some of the streamers, they were saying that there were some guilds who were just ganking every single crate runner because they were afraid that they were Chinese gold farmer players or something of that nature. So it seems that there was a lot of ganking and so on and so forth, and I saw so many videos of people complaining about it, saying, oh, it sucks that I'm gonna get ganked and I'm just trying to make money, why does it have to be PvP? How else do you want for there to be PvP? And they were talking about, yes, this is very understandable. There's an issue, and this has to do with a topic that I'm gonna keep bringing forward for the remainder of the video probably. And this is the concept of entropy. The concept of entropy has to do with the idea that when a system has too many moving pieces and too many individual things, and one of those things, one of those individual pieces goes wrong or gets broken, the whole system collapses. So in the whole idea of how Ashes of Creation is trying to manage world PvP, the whole corruption system, the whole flagging system, and how some players can bring an ult and kill your mule, and then you kill them and become flagged for PvP, and then a member of their guild who is level 25 is going to come and kill you, and they're going to steal your crates and so on and so forth. Yes, that's a way where people exploit the systems. But you know how you can avoid this? Well, the devs are actually coming up with a response to put in their system. It's not by playing the game as it was intended. Find alliances. Join an already existing convoy. This was a super cool aspect that I'm using the background footage where we were trying to run this crate and we were afraid of being ganked, and then out of nowhere, this guy asked me, are you guys about to leave? We were in the desert area, and we were like, yeah, sure. And we were asking, should we trust them? Are they gonna gank us? Are they gonna do something like that? No, they were just asking, they just wanted to create the largest convoy they could, with a little bit of coordination, because their guild had these convoys set up on a schedule. You can overcome all these gankers and whatnot, and I get it. You don't have time to work as a team. You don't have time to. You're a solo player that just wants to run your crates, and you're gonna get ganked. Then play a single player game. You know what I mean? This is an MMORPG that is trying to bring the MMO aspect back into the genre. The game to me feels like Warband. The original game, the original Warband for PC, I don't know, like 10 years ago. Now it's Bannerlord or something like that. I haven't played it. I played the original one. I played the hell out of that game. I don't know why. I just did. And I was playing the Viking Conquest version of the game. Basically, the game is about you start, there's a little bit of story, there's a little bit of lore, but that's not the main aspect of the game. The main aspect of the game is that you create the largest warband that you can, and you can hire soldiers in the towns, and then you get into trade, and you take things from one town to the next town or all around the island, and you can build your boat, especially in Viking Conquest. You build a boat and then you go to the northern Scottish areas of the map and you sell the goods from the south to the north where they are scarce. But at the same time, at any point, any army can jump you and you have to fight. Warband was one of my favorite games, and this game, Age of Creation, feels like Warband with an MMO, an online and live action aspect of it. And that is something that I don't think any other MMORPGs that I know of, because I came a little bit late into MMORPGs. I've only been playing MMORPGs for like 6 years. I never had this experience, and it feels absolutely amazing. So again, going back to the idea that the game has no content, it doesn't make any sense to me. The game is full of content. However, the players are the main character in the content. They need to simplify their PvP systems, because it is kind of annoying that they can exploit this issue. However, you can solve most of these issues by playing the game how it is intended, by forming alliances, and they've spoken about this in the live streams and so on and so forth. The game is about creating this alliance and so on and so forth. We ended up playing with the leader of this guild later on. We're talking about making the alliance, so on and so forth. All the leader ended up quitting the game for this guild, and now everything is broken, and that's just unfortunate. So if you're looking for a guild that is not gonna break, that has tried to keep them going for the last 5 years more or less. Did I mention that we were recruiting? You can find the link underneath this video. So yeah, unfortunately, I saw this happening a lot. I play the game daily since December 11th, all throughout the early days of January, and I saw a lot of people just quitting the game. People got tired of standing in the same spot, killing the same mob. People got tired of not finding groups, so on and so forth. As I said, this guild leader quit. I didn't mean to just put in my the ad for my guild at every chance that I get, but it is true. It's hard to find good MMO communities, and one of the things that I hate about the MMO communities is that they always die. And then there's some drama, there's some nonsense, and somebody quits, and then the guild dies, and that's annoying. That's just annoying. So one of the things that I want to do with our guild, our community, and this is what I've been focusing for the last few months, especially since I came back after Blizzard decided to kill rated battlegrounds by making them quote-unquote solo queue, which totally killed PvP. And yeah, of course, it's more efficient for the guy who has 7 kids and 4 jobs, but it's no longer an MMORPG. It's a solo game. It's a single player game. Anyway, not going into that tangent, the next point that I want to talk about is that the reputation of who you are in the server matters. The social dynamics matter. As I said, one of the main reasons why people quit the game is because they just couldn't find a group. And me, at this point in the game where I'm like level 23, level 24, I am a tank, I am a guild leader, which I have this community, this Discord community, so on and so forth. I'm always positive. I never tilt. I reset, I regroup, and we keep going. We fix things. We talk about it. I try to get people on a call on Discord because the game is hard, and that's the cool thing about it. You have to figure out the mobs and figure out what is going to one-shot people, and people get annoyed. By this time, some of the early members of our group started quitting. They tilted a little bit, they got burnt out because they were playing with their guilds also, so like, it's understandable, but it's part of what makes the game cool. So your reputation in the game matters. If you come into a call and you tilt, me as a guild leader, I'm gonna remember that, and maybe the next time that I'm forming group, I'm not gonna invite you. Because, or maybe you said, you know what, let me help you get this piece of loot, let me get this gear, let me help you get this gear, as you helped me before, and then you're gonna say, oh well, I have to focus on myself now, I'm gonna be selfish. It all matters. I always say, you know what, tell me what we're gonna do tonight. If anybody needs anything, anybody needs a piece, I am happy to help you, and maybe later you can go and help me get my best in slot. This is what makes MMORPGs great. So your reputation matters. If you're a guild leader that is gonna quit, your reputation matters. It's important, and that is one of the cool things about these old school MMORPGs. So anyway, the game as it is right now, it almost forces that guild play, that playing with the same group of people, that trying to form alliances, that trying to be the most cohesive, most efficient group that you can be. And there are certain bosses where everybody needs to be locked in. Everybody needs to know what they're doing, kick at a time where it's correct, learn the mob. It has to do with some of the issues of the game where it's not there's all these bugs where it doesn't show the ability, so people have to actually pay attention and respond to the animation. So you have to find people who are good at the game and who are not gonna tilt, and that is not always easy to do, especially for people who just want to join a game, find a group, and play like if they were playing with NPCs, play an easy game that is gonna call them heroes and call it a day and just play for 1 hour or two. There's no depth in that. And what I am loving about Ashes of Creation is that there is depth to all of its systems. And as I said, there's always the lingering, the incentive of going through all of this. Number one, because you want to create this cohesive group. I did this with Red Battlegrounds in PvP. But number two, and more basic and more primal, is because this Scorpion that I'm killing right here had my best in slot for a tank, and that was very cool. And I brought a bunch of groups into this. I had some healers quit on me because fighting Scorpions as a healer is a pain in the ass, because they have one mechanic that is going to one-shot you, and if you're not good at dodging, you're going to call everybody else an idiot, and you're going to tilt, and you're going to blame it on your tank, you're going to blame it on everyone else but you, but it's just like you have to do it. But when that piece drops, when you actually kill it, when that piece actually drops after you've been killing them off for on and on and on, and maybe you found a good party to play with, and you've been playing together for a few days, and that best in slot you've been looking for actually drops, that's a feeling that I haven't had in such a long time. I've never had the feeling of being excited about loot dropping from pixels from mob since original 2019 classic World of Warcraft. And that is because I didn't play vanilla when it came out in 2006. My first experience was in 2019 when you had that drop from the Judgment set in Blackwing Layer. Holy crap, I had a brain fart. So yeah, when I had the Judgment set drop in Blackwing Layer, when I got my Quel'Serrar from Onyxia, like those moments were so epic, and I remember them. I don't know what it is. I just don't know. Maybe one day I'll figure it out. But this happened to me in Ashes of Creation at a lower scale level, I would say, but it's there, and it's just gonna get better, and I see it, and I feel it, and I understand it. And as I said, when that piece actually drops, And when at the same time, and when at the same time, it drops a piece for one of your healers that you've been playing with for a while and everybody's happy, there is just something magical about it. There's just something that I cannot explain, and I felt it in Ashes of Creation. Yes, I had people betray me, I had people steal from my guild, I had people tilt on me, I had people quit the game on me, people join my guild and then they quit after being playing with them in other guilds. I saw that happening to a lot of people having their raylead quit, but when it actually drops, it's smash again, gonna turn it like a whirlwind. Beautiful.
Nice.
There we go.
Oh, you got it.
No way. Oh my god!
No way.
Holy
Yo,
shit!
give it to lifeguard. Give it to lifeguard. Give it to lifeguard.
Oh my god, I've been looking. Oh my god.
What dropped?
What?
He's talking about the
No, it's a
the
physical
longbow.
power. Oh, okay.
Oh damn.
Yeah, go for it.
Wait, would you guys be pissed if I needed it for him?
I don't know who needs it more, but make it make sense. And we can, if
So
we,
that one hand.
if
Well,
we,
it's been healed for everybody.
if we make a mistake, we will re-roll it or whatever. We're amongst friends here.
Give
Nah.
that bow to lifeguard, dude.
Go, bro.
Great symbol that I have.
Thank you.
That's a nice bow. Sick.
Wait, what are you guys
Oh.
talking about? The bow? I got my sword.
Yeah, that's. I was gonna say
I need-
that's a tank or
Thank you.
it's not even a rogue.
Thank you.
No, that's V's
Because
sword
rogues
in
used
drop,
to, yeah, they're
bro.
like two-handed
Fuck
daggers,
yeah,
whatever that's
let's
called.
go.
Yeah, that's sick. Congrats on
It's
that.
part of the set.
So yeah, when that sword dropped, after farming those bosses for days, after having so many healers and bards and ranged DPS die to the Scorpion mechanic and maybe quitting the game, to find a cohesive group, to have people showing up day in and day out and getting my bees, it was just absolutely huge. And I haven't had this feeling in a while, in such a long time, ever since Classic 2019 kind of died. I tried TBC, I couldn't get in it, and TBC got a little bit toxic, so I already knew what the game was. And then for Classic, for some reason, there were a lot of new players coming into Classic, and there was more leeway. For TBC, then everything was min-maxing, everything was, we already know the game, whatever. And then I got into retail, and I had a lot of fun on retail, but it had more to do with the community that we created in retail, that the gameplay was complicated, so you need to create again a strong community, a cohesive community, and we always manage our community with no toxicity, with like being chill and so on and so forth. So we had a great community going, but the community made the game great, not so much the game itself. So when Blizzard and Retail World of Warcraft decided to make PvP into a solo experience, the last appeal of the game died for me. I'm looking for an MMORPG. I'm looking for something where I can create a cohesive team. I don't know if that's because when I was younger, I played football and I played rugby and I played all these team sports, and I did martial arts and I still do martial arts, but I do it as a team. And that's something great. I don't do it anymore because I'm in between moving places and moving cities and so on and so forth. But having this sort of teamwork is something really cool that I don't think a lot of people have experienced, and I think a lot of people have a more individualistic mindset, and I think that this is a problem in society at large. But anyway, not going too deep into that. I tried to play Final Fantasy. I tried to play Guild Wars 2. I tried to play some of the other MMOs. I played with Winsmith. I kind of felt that in New World, but I don't want to talk about New World because New World is in the past and New World is gone. And I'm going to be talking about New World and its lore in some other channel. But this is the first MMORPG where getting loot feels meaningful. And that just opens itself to be a real contender in the MMO genre. That all of these top games like Guild Wars 2 and that Elder Scrolls Online have kind of tried to do, and they do have their own audience and they do have their own dynamic, but they are not the traditional MMO. They are not the MMO that a lot of the MMO players are looking for. And Ashes of Creation is. Overall, if I had to pinpoint the problem with Ashes of Creation, it would be that it had too high expectations. It had too high of a vision, which met reality. That is the problem of Ashes of Creation. It wanted to be the MMO game with like big settlements and big PvP and these incredibly complicated systems where, you know, the Steven, the GM, he wanted to do everything and put everything he ever dreamed of into an MMO, and he promised all of this, and he had all these pockets to do it, but then he met reality. He met limits that little by little they've been trying to overcome, they've been trying to work around, and what Ashes of Creation is right now is the product of all of this. It's the fantasy, it's the idealism meeting the reality, meeting the mechanical limitations, meeting all these issues. The background footage that I'm using here is a war where the idea of it was really cool, and for a moment it felt great. It was just like a couple of minutes, because then everybody was stuck in place, everybody was lagging and rubber banding horribly, and it became absolutely unplayable. This is the only time that I had any like big game breaking unplayable bugs in the game where I literally cannot play the game after the initial hiccups of the game. A lot of people stopped playing because they couldn't load in, they had some issues with the rubber banding, they had some issues where the game reset. I remember the first week the game reset out of nowhere and everybody got sent into the initial area of the game and everybody was just like floating in the air. That was like absolutely game breaking, and they had to take down all of the servers. That was a single day after the first 2 days where nobody could log in and there were some other issues. But after those little hiccups, the game was stable for, I want to say, 150 hours for me. I have 161 hours more or less. As you know, like the time I was in queue, the time I had some issues, maybe 5 to 10 hours where I was just in a queue and I couldn't play the game. I didn't have any other technical issues. But now doing this war, I found the issues. The game is just aiming too high, it's aiming too much. If I had a constructive criticism, it would be work in the features that you already have in the game and perfect them before trying to do these incredibly complicated war systems, these incredibly in-depth PvP systems where there's all these ways where people can exploit it. And as I mentioned before, I was gonna bring it back again, the concept of entropy. When a system has too many moving pieces, too many details, too many pieces to the machinery, and one of these little pieces goes wrong, the whole thing goes wrong. I don't know, maybe they will be able to pull it off and it'll be great. Maybe they will instance these wars, and that would be amazing, because in New World they were okay. 50v50, have some objectives, I don't care, it doesn't matter. The original aspect of the game of going to these points of interest and building your army and always having PvP be a threat in the game is a really, really cool, refreshing experience. The whole PvX, you already have that in the game. Oh no, screw, bro, there's like all of
ants.
The private tiers. We're gonna have to be careful with the private tiers.
Don't engage anything yet. They're gonna mess with us as soon as we pull one. They're like right behind us.
Oh, one guy went corrupt.
Did? Where?
Yeah, right there.
Nos?
Oh, yep.
Do we just attack him?
Kill him. Kill the red guy.
Take
his shit. Pick it up. Don't fight anyone else.
I got it. I got it. I got it.
Nice, go,
I'm
going, I'm going.
Run.
No, you don't have to run. Don't even panic. Don't even panic.
What'd you end up getting?
You're not corrupt.
Let's
Did you get monsters?
go.
Oh, I got some radiant earrings.
Watch out, don't
Some
go
radiant
straight,
earrings.
Oh, there you go.
Let's go,
Look at that.
brother. We don't need the wars that are not working right now. We don't need to overcomplicate everything. I have 1 million systems that are not gonna work. Instance the wars, instance some of the other things that are not working in the other world. We had issues with respawning. People who were the enemies were respawning inside our city. How does that make any sense? And I can only imagine how much time would be spent into fixing the issue that when a war is declared on a node, then the opposite people cannot respawn in that city, even though they trade with the city or whatever, and having the freedom of the MMO. It's too much. It's too much of a headache. So just simplify things, put wars and maybe some other things into an instance, and reduce the entropy of your systems. So yeah, as I said, I don't have, like, I kind of have like some ideas and pointers that I want to give, but I guess what I'm doing right now is the constructive criticism of Ashes of Creation, and it brings me to the last thing that I want to talk about. How do I fix it? How do we fix all of these issues? I don't know. The game is complicated. There's a lot of systems. I have my ideas. I think the game works as it is right now. They just need to focus on fixing some of these details, some of the bugs, some of the issues. And the game is out. All of these big places are out. All of this loot is out. All of these systems are out. Okay, the wars don't work. They need to instance the wars. It's gonna be too complicated to fix the little bugs in this big system. Just instance them, 50v50, do something like that. What, in my opinion, will make or break this game is the lore. There's a reason why I said this is the best MMORPG since classic World of Warcraft. Even though I do like pushing, I do like the PvP, I do like all of these systems and the dungeons and whatnot. The reason why World of Warcraft Classic has been one of my most favorite games of all time is the whole environmental storytelling behind the game. In World of Warcraft Classic, every single zone in the huge world, which as they say, the world is a character on its own, Azeroth, the original Azeroth. There's a story in every nook and cranny. There are books that you can find and read about the history of the world, about the nature of magic in the world of Azeroth. And some of the stories were silly and dumb and whatnot, and they were just filler for something else. Some of them were funny and whatsoever. But the depth, the sense of epicness of the whole thing, it's just amazing. The fact that you have to go from one quest to another and traverse a world. If Ashes of Creation manages to do this with its zones, it will be the WoW killer, because it does improve into a lot of the things that make the original classic World of Warcraft great. It's this old school MMO, it's this loot, the grind, the so on and so forth. It's just, there is just something to it. So there's already a lot of lore in Ashes of Creation. There's already the wikis, and they made 1-hour videos on Steel Bloom and everything that is going on in the background and so on and so forth. But unfortunately in this alpha they didn't give us a lot of lore. Maybe I have not found it, because yes, there is this constant urgency to hit 25. It is one of those games, especially because a lot of people are just gonna be drained, they're not gonna push anymore, and then there's not gonna be groups going anymore. As I said, I'm gonna keep supporting this game. The guild is gonna keep going. The Republic, we are a multi-MMO Discord. All the info can be found below, and I'm gonna keep putting forward my guild, my community. I don't care. This is gonna be more like a community sort of channel, I guess. So anyway, regardless of how you feel about the issues of Ashes of Creation, I think if you're an MMO player, you should try to celebrate all MMORPGs, even though I have my issues with Retail World of Warcraft and maybe Final Fantasy, which is a great RPG. Final Fantasy 14, it's an amazing RPG. I never got to the end game because I had to go through hours and hours and hours of single player RPG in a very dense story. So it's a great RPG game. I don't know about the MMO. Maybe one day I will try it. So in any case, I support every MMO because I think they're super important. They're super important when it comes to the, especially when there's like a deep lore, when there's all these things, is they're intellectually engaging, and the systems and the combat and so on and so forth. I love everything about them. They allow me to turn off my brain when I want to do it and just delve into these worlds of magic and so on and so forth. And what better way to do it with like-minded people, with people who are chill and so on and so forth. That's the nature of the MMO. MMOs are not about queuing into an instance solo. That's not an MMO. It's simply not. It's not about these isolating worlds that have some mediocre lore attached to them. It's not. That's not an MMO. So I think Ashes of Creation is doing something that amazing in the genre, and it's little by little, as I said, overcoming these limitations. They aim too high, and little by little they're trying to kind of reach what they promised, reach what the original vision was. They don't need to do everything they promised. The core of what they have is enough. I guess it's just that's the way things work. You have to aim high, and maybe it is by aiming so high that even though you're not gonna reach the height of your initial idea, you're gonna meet a middle point. You're gonna find a middle point where you have something solid, something to build upon. I don't know. I'm just, I've been ranting for so long. I don't know if this video is going to be half an hour, 1 hour. I don't care. I want to make a long video. I wanted to put all the information out there. I think it's pretty sad that you see a lot of the streamers and a lot of the YouTubers actually enjoying the game. But when their chats or whatever ask them like, oh, is the game good? Is this game actually good? Especially since the game has been out already. And I think it has a stable 20,000 people playing it, and then I think it's growing. I don't know. I do see that a lot of people are being burnt out, and probably it's gonna get lower numbers soon since people are going back to work and whatnot, including myself. But it's just extremely sad to see all these YouTubers saying, okay, chat, is this game good? Am I having fun? Because they are having fun, but if they say that they like Ashes of Creation, is like, oh, no, Ashes of Creation is a scam. Ashes of Creation is a bad game. It's not. It's extremely solid. People need to stop complaining about everything. People need to stop having this pessimistic attitude about everything in life. And I understand the economy is hard. I understand there's a lot of issues in the world right now, but come on, man. We're looking to delve into these worlds of magic and stuff. Focus on the positive things. I've been ranting for too long. I just wanted to make this video about Ashes of Creation. I think there is the potential, at least for me, this is going to be my main MMO. I think regardless of what you think of Ashes of Creation, you should look at it objectively and say, this is a good game. This game is out. The game is... It's not a scam. It's a real MMORPG, and the best at it at that. I don't know. I think people should try it, should make their own mind instead of just going for all those reviews that I spoke about in the past. People play the game for 10 hours and thought they knew everything about the game. No, the game is so in-depth. But I do think that you need the right community. It's a guild game. So again, if you're looking for a guild, all the information is underneath. Join the Discord. I'm gonna keep supporting this game. Might slow down a little bit right now since I'm coming back to work, and I have a few IRL projects going on, but I'm definitely gonna keep going at it. I'm excited to see what Pantheon and Monster and Memories are doing. I'm excited, of course, about Classic Plus and the potentiality of that happening this year in 2026. Maybe retail World of Warcraft. I don't know. Maybe I'll try it as I always do and be disappointed as I am always. I'll maybe try Elder Scrolls Online. I don't know. I think those games already have their audiences. They're never gonna grow anymore. They're just gonna be put on soft maintenance. So I'm looking into the future, and I do think that the future is the indie MMORPG scene, spearheaded by the critically acclaimed 10-year-old Kickstarter MMORPG Ashes of Creation. We will see. Anyway, that's all I got for today. So if you enjoyed this video in some sense or form, please like the video, help, even comment whatever you want. I'm gonna get it. Probably if people actually watch this, they're gonna comment, "Oh no, the game sucks. What the hell are you talking about?" When they play like 5 hours, or they refunded in the first 2 hours because they cannot, I don't know, read their mails while they're in a queue, or maybe go and have dinner while they're in a queue for the initial 2 days of the game. Anyway, I'm gonna stop ranting. Thank you so much for watching, and maybe I'll see you in the next one. Peace.